Hello.
What's up, Jake?
What's up, Josh?
Man, I keep getting sprawled on when I try to wrestle up on people.
This is the topic for today, huh?
Yes. Yeah, I went with my buddy Matt, and he has a background in MMA, and I think he has a really good sprawl. But also, I think I hesitate a lot when I wrestle up, and so I think I got like my face just smashed into the ground this week, and was like, okay, I need to stop doing this. So yeah, I was curious to hear your thoughts on wrestling up. Seems like maybe like I'm getting the feeling that when I go for it, I really just need to go for it, maybe.
Mm.
And it's the hesitation that's causing that opening to get sprawled on into front headlock. But that's just a hunch. I'm not sure.
I'm curious. I remember talking about when we were going over your last competition footage, how when you were wrestling up, you were doing so with your head on the outside, and then that guy was countering with a kimura. So, are you intentionally trying to avoid that, and now you're getting sprawled on, or is it just kind of like I'm getting sprawled on? Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good question. I don't know if I'm intentionally trying to do it. I think sometimes when I wrestle up, I'm either going for a single leg or I'm kind of going for like this, I guess like a double leg where I like spear my head into their stomach or whatever. So I haven't been going outside as often. Yeah.
Gotcha. Um, this is this might lead well into what I've been thinking about actually.
Okay, cool.
Um, but like what I've been trying to think about when playing open guard is the idea of just like limiting their options a bit. In the sense that like their main advantage is their mobility and they can go side to side. But if you can use things like movement or like the placement of your feet, you can limit some of their options. So they just at least become more predictable. So let's see if I can find it actually. So I filmed this little video, but you can see like if you're using movement to like circle in this direction,
Mhm.
it forces them to pass in the other direction. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So becomes harder for them to go side to side and they have to go this way. So when they do go this way, it's a bit more predictable. And this might be a good time to wrestle up and you're like outside of their feet and kind of not carrying their weight as much. Does this make sense?
Mhm.
Yeah. And then the other thing you can do is use your feet. So like if you put your foot on like the inside of this leg, makes it hard for them to pass in this direction. It basically forces them to pass in the other direction. And they can, so I'm saying it makes them hard for them to go this way, right? But then they can go the other way to pass, right? So he'll use something like a back step or something like this, yes, to pass in this direction. So you can do the same thing if we go back. Like if I put this foot over on the outside of this ankle, it's the
Mhm.
same thing. It makes them hard to pass in this direction and they have to go this way. And then when they're taking steps like forward, you can kind of predict where they're going. And this can be a time to use more of like a sweep single leg type thing to wrestle up. Um, so this has been a pretty common thing that I've been doing from open guard is just trying to funnel them into predictable movements instead of trying to just like, are they going left? Are they going right? And then like, when do I wrestle up? Yeah. So this has been something I've enjoyed recently and been thinking about.
Dude, that is huge. I just realized right now that from a seated open guard, I've only been moving forward and backwards or just kind of waiting for them to move before I
Right.
move. And so I really like this idea of like already being aggressive and cutting off certain paths to make them more predictable. It almost reminds me of like, did you play basketball growing up by any chance?
Not really. No.
Oh, I just remember like when you're guarding someone one on one, you can kind of like stagger your stance.
Yes.
So you're
Exactly.
forcing them to go one direction.
Yeah. Make them go
And
left or something like this.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Like if they're right-handed or whatever. And so yeah, it makes me think of that. And it just I don't know why. I just realized like my open guard is so bad, probably because I just wait for them to do something and then react,
Right.
or I'm just moving forward and backward and not side to side at all, not
Right.
circling at all, actually.
And a lot of times you're still kind of waiting for them to do something, but at least you're able to like predict their movements a little better, you know?
Yeah.
So I still, have gotten my guard passed many times trying to do this, but at least I know like they're going this way, and if they beat me, but at least I knew where they were going.
Right.
Yeah. And then like I said, this can be a good time to like wrestle up when you're kind of predicting them stepping to the side, and then you kind of do like a sweep single type of
Mhm.
motion. Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay. So for those who are listening and didn't see the video, it's kind of like using your feet to either post on one of their legs to stop them or hook behind one leg and start to limit the options that they have in terms of which direction they can go.
Mhm. And also using, kind of like you were saying, like instead of just using like forward and backwards movement, you're using my voice cracked. Um, you're using like circular movement. And then like strategically, you can do this to like people who are, professionals like to make people pass on the side where they don't typically pass. So you can actually like circle in the opposite direction to get them to pass to your left.
Mm,
And then you can wrestle up or, attack from your guard on that hip instead. So you can use it strategically as well to basically force them to the side that they're not comfortable passing.
okay. That
Yeah.
makes sense. Now, let's say you start to implement this in your game, you're getting better at predicting which direction they're going to go. And if you, in that moment, decide, like, oh, this leg is there, I'm going to try to come up for a single, you do have to go for it, right? Because I don't know, sometimes maybe I'm just grabbing a leg and I don't know why I'm waiting there once I
Yeah.
grab it. But
Yeah, so I'm actually going to come out this podcast will come out probably well after the video is released, so it
yeah,
should be available for people to watch. But
okay, cool.
I'm going to come out with a video this coming Tuesday about managing risk, which was a topic I was thinking about a while ago. Um, and one thing, do you know who Kyle Dake is?
Mm-mm.
He's a pretty well accomplished wrestler. Um, and kind of the criteria that I outlined for managing risk is you identify a worst case scenario, you identify some sort of key indicator that you want to be in place for you to proceed with your attack. And with that key indicator in place, then you can be aggressive with your attack. So what Kyle Dake said in an interview was when he's attacking a single leg, he's never willing to compromise his shoulder position. So like, I think from, like, any position, like, the key indicator is kind of the hard thing to identify. Like, what are the things that I'm not willing to sacrifice if I wanna keep attacking from this position? And from a single leg, it could be, like, your head position. It can be, like, your grip on the leg. It can be many variables, but his key indicator was his shoulder position. And he basically said, if I have good shoulder position, I'm gonna finish the single leg. Like I'm gonna be aggressive with this single leg. But he basically said if my shoulder position's ever compromised, I'm letting go of the single leg and I'm gonna take an underhook. Or it's just gonna like lead to nothing and then we end up, neutral again, no harm, no foul kind of thing. But he basically said he attacks a single leg with the goal of like never ending up in a bad position. Like you don't want to get sprawled on and end up in the bottom of the front headlock, right? And the indicator that he's looking for, whether he should be proceeding with the single leg or trying to transition to another form of attack, is whether his shoulder is in good position or not.
Mm, interesting. Um, what does that good position look like for a single leg when it comes to the shoulder?
Yeah, this is a good question. Probably one that I'm not necessarily qualified to answer. Um, but the way I've been thinking about it is if like my shoulder can make like good contact with their thigh, then I'm gonna keep going. But if there's ever like disconnect between my shoulder and their thigh, I'm gonna transition into something else. Either I'm gonna
Gotcha.
like sit back to guard or I'm gonna, take an underhook as we stand, kind of thing.
Yeah.
So yeah, this is what I've been thinking about.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah, because I was starting to think about, wrestling up on a single from seated,
Mhm.
and a lot of times, I think I might have seen this in a Craig Jones instructional, like using my right hand to grab their back of their right knee, and
Right.
then pulling up
Like an
behind.
inside reach.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
and pulling close. So a lot of times I'll get that grip and begin to pull, but maybe I'm just not like coming up and making them light on their feet and backing them up fast enough,
Mhm.
because then they'll strip that and then just start to sprawl on me.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, I haven't been using this as much, like the inside reach version as much, just because I tend to have my hand on the mat these days and I'm using it to create movement. And then it's hard to like switch from hand on the mat to behind their knee quick enough. Um, it can like sometimes they step across like so much, you just kind of take your hand off and grab it from the inside, and this can lead to this type of inside reach. But I tend to find myself more doing like an outside like sweep single type of entry these days. But I don't know what I'm talking about. So maybe listen to Craig Jones more than me.
No, I don't know. I think I'm sure there's many ways to go about it. I have not tried the sweep single as much, probably because of my toe injury that I've had for a long
Mhm.
time. It's getting better now, so maybe I can stretch it a little. But I do try that double leg where you kind of sit into like a crisscross applesauce and then just come up. And I have long arms, so I try to just like
Yeah. Lock
whatever.
double.
Yeah, yeah, the lock double, or just spear them, like
Yeah.
with your head and try to run them over, or sometimes go outside. But then, yeah, it's still tricky. I do wonder how much a wrestle up, like, it's just I don't I wonder how much. Maybe it's like one of those things where timing matters a lot more than
Mm,
something like entering the leg. I don't know, or sweeping.
yeah. Um, One thing to maybe think about, and we kind of alluded to it a little bit, is like, you know how in past conversations we've talked about, let me just find an example real quick, actually.
Yeah,
Um, where like when you're seated, you can wrestle up with like, so you start in guard, you take some dominant grips, and then you like wrestle up with those dominant grips. So now you are able to start setting up attacks.
mhm,
So maybe thinking of wrestling up, not necessarily like I need to get to the single leg and finish it, but like, let's see if there's another example. Yeah. So it's like you're seated, you get an inside bicep tie, and actually it looks like the defender has the downward facing straight grip, but still you have an inside bicep tie. And then you're wrestling up, you know?
mhm.
So this type of thing I think is important. It's something I've been thinking about more. And we kind of alluded to it where I was talking about like if I try and wrestle up with the single leg and I feel like the single leg's not going to work, I'm going to let go of the single leg, take an underhook, and stand up. So now we're standing, but I have an underhook and I'm ready to start wrestling from this like grip fighting exchange that I've already won. Does this make sense?
Yeah.
So yeah, like I I've been trying to think of it less as like I need to complete the sweep, and at least I need to get to like some sort of dominant gripping exchange. When I do stand, I can start to attack. Yeah,
Yeah, this is a huge this is a great piece of advice. It's like typical like beginner mistake of just trying to rush the move, just trying to like make the move happen instead of like seeing that the move is just like you getting connected and having better connections and then doing something with them. So yeah, I think I have been just trying to quote unquote do the wrestle up versus like win this hand fight and then do something with that better connection.
right.
Um,
And
yeah,
it can be hard to get to their legs to wrestle up when they're so low and their hands are in the way. So, like wrestling up can also be like snapping them down into a front headlock kind of
right.
thing, you know? So,
Mhm.
like, having these types of strategies where you're snapping them down or you're just trying to get to some sort of dominant grip before you just stand up, this I think makes them a little more hesitant to approach with that type of posture and can lead to more traditional type wrestle ups where you're just going
Right.
for a single leg or something like this. Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. So oftentimes from open guard, the that initial connecting hand fight or whatever, is it usually my hands against their hands or like my feet against their feet?
Yeah. So, kind of like I said, I've been trying to do both in
Mhm.
the sense that like your feet can help funnel them into more predictable um, passes, but then like when you're trying to use your feet and like get closer to you, then they're like posting, they're reaching with their hands to prevent you. And then this is the time that I've been taking my hand off the ground to try and make some sort of like grip on them and then stand up. Or you can like, remove their post and get underneath it and then go for a single leg or something like this. Um, but yeah, this is, I think, kind of how it all comes together a bit. Like you're
Yeah.
using movement, you're using your feet to make them engage with their hands, and then you're trying to win the grip fight type of thing. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, because I feel like from the pastor's perspective, there's that kind of wrestler type where their feet are so far away and they're
Yeah.
low and their hands are there and they're kind of cagey, like they're really afraid of entering your legs or like
That
slipping
rumble
between.
passing type stuff,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. So I guess in that sense, maybe it's good your hands are fighting their hands, and as they're close enough, your feet are starting to limit their options with that hook and post. And then there's the other type of passers where they just step inside, in between. They're trying to tight pass and stuff.
Right,
And the hand fight's a little bit different there because now you have access to their legs with your hands as well.
exactly.
Um, yeah, so I wonder. Yeah. I guess it's just, kind of a nuanced, hand and feet fighting in that initial stage.
Yeah. And I
Yeah.
think, it's tough because like, a lot of people who implement that, um, rumble passing type of strategy, they're good wrestlers, you know?
Mhm.
So it can be intimidating to try and wrestle these types of people. But this is where I find that strategy of, like, getting to some sort of dominant grip before you stand up. I think this is the strategy, at least that I've been trying to employ against people who are much better wrestlers than me, is, um, only engage in the wrestling exchange when you have some sort of, like, advantage, you know? And
Yeah.
when that advantage is gone, then just sit back down to your butt.
Right.
And that's what I've been, um, focused on. And then kind of like what you were talking about, like, when people go, you see like open guard to like lock double leg. So
Mhm.
like when people are standing more like upright and they try and step in between your legs and are very aggressive with their legs, this is the time to just grab their legs and go in for like a lock double leg. It looks so effortless, you know.
Right. Yeah. You just
But
bind their legs together and then
yeah,
cut an
like
angle.
yeah, again, like he tries to step in the middle.
Mhm.
Um, and this can be good times to just like grab their legs with that lock double leg and wrestle up.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it kind of exactly like you said, like your strategy kind of depends on their posture, what your first threat is going to be, you know?
Yeah. I think I need to just see that stage of the guard and passing as its own hand fight battle thing going on versus like wrestle up or entangle, you know? And
Mhm.
yeah, so maybe I think my big takeaways are, yeah, that initial hand fight from seated is to try to get some kind of dominant grip, maybe 2-on-1, stuff like that. And then once you get that dominant grip, then you can pull them forward or come up on something, and not try to rush things so much. So
Right.
yeah, that and then the angling off and trying to close off their options is interesting. Yeah, it's pretty nuanced how you can just initiate from guard.
Right.
Yeah, it doesn't look like much sometimes that you're actually initiating from guard, I guess.
Right. And
Yeah.
yeah, like it can be so, like you were talking about getting like a 2-on-1 or something like this. Like this, I would say is like a very ideal situation where you're able to like really win the grip fight.
Mhm.
But I've really been trying to win like small grip fighting battles, and like people really don't expect you to just like stand up. It's like they post on your shoulder, you take like an elbow tie or something like this, and then you just like stand up and immediately like start to pass it across their body. It's like, yeah, it's like you just get like some small sort of advantage and then you come up. Or they post on your shoulder, you take like an inside bicep tie and then just stand up with like an inside bicep tie. They're like, it's very like catches people off guard. You know, they don't expect you to
Yeah.
just stand up.
That's a really good point. Yeah, I think we're so used to, especially in the gym in our open rounds, someone's gonna play guard and someone's gonna stand, and
Right.
they're like, "Reset, just I'm coming up." Not used to it.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah. Actually, it's funny because Matt, he does have a lot better wrestling than I do, and when we went in our last class, at the end of class, we had, like, 1 comp round at the end, and so we started standing, and he just didn't expect me to pull guard, and then he's like, "Oh, damn it, I can't do my wrestling." And then I tried to wrestle, and he was just really caught off guard, like, "Wait, what are you doing? I thought you were playing guard." So,
Right.
yeah, I think this is a good strategy.
Yeah. It makes you so much harder to pass, you know? Cause like
Yeah,
as soon as you just even like I said, like when you just get these like small grip fighting wins and then you stand up, then they're like, okay, I have to like keep this person down. And then they become much more like offensive with their legs, you know, trying to keep you
right.
on the mat. And then these more traditional wrestle ups or leg entanglements become available. So yeah, it just makes you so much more dynamic and threatening and kind
Yeah.
of forces them to be more engaging.
Right. Yeah. It's like you said with those wrestler types who are leaning forward, really cagey. You start snapping them down, standing up and coming up, and you're like, oh shit, I got to keep this guy down now. And
Right.
as they're trying to keep you down, maybe lure him into the legs from
And again,
there.
it's easier said than done because the people doing this are very good wrestlers typically.
Yeah,
So it's like
totally.
when you're standing, you're kind of going into their world, but the like theory is at least you're going into their world with some sort of advantage, you know, and you
Right.
can always sit back down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You could always sit back down. Cool.
So yeah,
Yeah, super helpful. These are great ideas. Yeah,
good
thank you.
luck.
Thank you.